Do excuse my appearance. Today, at the time of filming, it is Sunday, so therefore it is a lazy day, and I'll be wearing my dressing gown regardless of what anybody says. I like a good dressing gown. But today was the day of Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. And I've just finished watching the episode, and to be honest, it's not really a reaction video anymore, really, is it? There was nothing really to react to. So it's a simple thoughts video. So, being a historical, it follows on from the footsteps of Rosa, Demons of the Punjab, The Witchfinders, and Spyfall Part 2, in the way that Chibnall has decided to take the show back to its educational roots and give a bit more history, a few more history lessons, so to speak. Sorry about the stutter, something just popped up on my phone. I don't like it when things do that. Anyway, so I've got to say, I have really enjoyed that one, to be honest. I mean, I think it got the balance of history versus adventure absolutely right. I mean, sure, there are still a few pacing issues and expositional issues, but overall, I thought that one was quite a solid adventure, and I really enjoyed watching it. So, the acting was absolutely on point, from the guests especially. Robert Glenister was fantastic as Edison. He was almost borderline villainous. Kind of goes with that almost pantomime-esque businessman they were going for in his portrayal in this episode. Goran Visnik gave a very nuanced portrayal of Nikola Tesla. I can't fault it at all. It was great to watch, and he was certainly one of the strongest guest stars that Doctor Who has had in recent years as well. And it was nice that he was used well, as opposed to Stephen Fry getting killed within like 5 minutes. But still, that's another story, another time. It's interesting that we're seeing a lot of 13's darker impulses come out now, because she's getting progressively a bit more darker as the series is going on, I've noticed. I'm sure most of us have noticed. But in this episode, she was at times flat out intimidating towards Tesla at the beginning, and definitely the Queen at the end, when she was basically saying, when you die, there'll be nothing left but blood. And it was quite interesting to see the usually perky 13 talking like, well, to be honest, that's kind of on par with the previous Doctors, starting to go a little bit bloodthirsty. And yeah, I'm quite liking that side of her. It's giving her a lot more depth. I mean, post Gallifrey's redestruction. So I'm very interested to see how far down this path that she is going to end up, because I could easily see her near episode 8 or 9 just becoming a flat-out brooding lunatic, because, I mean, she's always been kind of a lunatic, but still brooding. Although, admittedly, I did spend a good portion of the episode wondering if the Doctor was going to mind wipe Nikola and Edison after the events had occurred, because of what happened with Ada and Nor back in Spyfall, but she didn't, which is a bit strange. Set a strange precedent, didn't follow it up, but I'm not complaining, because I don't think the mind wiping should be used in that way anyway. So yeah, it was also wonderful to see Yaz get a bit more screen time, a bit more development as she's noticing everything around her. There is no happy ending to a lot of these things, and that is what the ending kind of symbolized, in that Tesla will die penniless, and no matter how great you are or what you try to do, sometimes things won't go your way. And I thought Yaz's kind of confusion and sort of desolation at that was very, very well done. It was very nuanced, and I like that. I like nuance. Nuances are good. One of the problems I found with the episode was that it was still a bit heavy on the exposition, and 13 is usually always the one dealing with the exposition, and it just feels a bit there's too much of it, and it feels a little bit forced. And there must be better ways of delivering the information necessary, or simpler ways at least, because sometimes it just brings the episode down to a halt, and you just feel yourself becoming gradually less and less immersed, until something new happens, and then you're back in it again, which is one of the problems that I had. But I think definitely this one, so far, my favourite of Series 12. I mean, it's not amazing, but it was good, and I really enjoyed that historical aspect of it. And to be honest, with a lot of the last series, I was finding myself thinking over the historical ones and was gradually becoming less and less favourable towards them. So I hope this doesn't happen with this one. But yeah, for now, I enjoyed it a lot. The monsters of the week were perfectly alright, I thought. They were serviceable. I did think that in terms of aesthetic design, the Queen was a bit too close to the Ragnos, but that's probably an aesthetic thing. So still, Angie Mahindra put on a really spirited performance as the Queen, and as much as I didn't really like the voice effects, I thought that she did a great performance nonetheless. I did like the Doctor's growing bloodlust towards that species, though. That was that was quite terrifying to watch. But still, yeah, I thought they were quite cool. They were quite cool. I do wish a lot more was done with the resurrection aspect of it, though. I mean, that could easily have been a story in itself, using other people's visages to properly just, well, meet your demands. But as others have said, the Chibnall era stories can sometimes put in a lot of story elements, much like some of the Moffat era stories as well. They have a lot of elements that could make a separate story, but in the actual episode is only a small segment. So yeah, it's kind of thing that happens, unfortunately. But still, the overall result of the episode was good. So yeah, personally I enjoyed it, and I'd say it's probably my favourite episode of Series 12 so far. Well, it's between that and Spyfall Part 1. The middle two I felt dipped a bit, but yeah. And plus, next week we have the Jadoon returning, and despite the fact they've made appearances since, they haven't been given a proper story since their first appearance 13 years ago. So I am really, really looking forward to this one. So do let me know what you thought of Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror in the comments below, and as always, I will see you next time. See ya!